Hello my dear students, now we are going to learn about the food preservation. So sometimes food poisoning is a causing. Many times you are listening, there are deaths also possible because of the food poisoning. Sometimes it is a very serious one. So here there is a food poisoning. Patil and Bhujo went to the party. In that party they have a variety of food items they ate. And when they return to home, they have some problems are there like vomiting they are causing. So they went to doctor. So doctor said that is because of the food poisoning. Then what is a food poisoning? Here, when food is not there, preserving or storing properly, there is a spoilage of the food taking place. So growth of the microorganisms on that taking place, and here because of that growth of that microorganism, they leave the toxic substances in that. So there is a food poisoning taking place, and sometimes it is a very serious one. We are listening, there are deaths are also possible in the food poisoning. So storage of the food or preservation of the food is very much necessary. How to preserve the food? So preservation of the food, about that in the crop production and management we learnt about how there is a production and management and distribution. In that storages of the food here grains are there or crops are there, drying that one properly and storing in the silos, otherwise gunny bags are there in them. So here we are learning about how there is preserving a food. Cooked food at home. So that is about the grains and all. Now cooked food items are there in our home, that how to store. So as you are observing, leftover bread is there in our home, and after 3-4 days you are going to observe it has a bad foul smell is there, otherwise taste is a bad one. On that some blackish thread like structures are there that are growing, that are nothing but there is an attack of the fungi are there. Sometimes food items are there when we are keeping for 2-3 days, that foul smell and become a sticky one, and there is a taste of that food is changing, that is a spoiled food. So Patil bought some mangoes to the home, and she kept that not ate, she kept for some days as it is. After some days she want to eat that mangoes, but that all are there rotten one, that all are mangoes are there spoiled one. So she is thinking that grandmother is there, she is preparing a pickle of the mango, it is not spoiling, but how that mangoes are there spoiled. So here that is because of a preservation of that pickles it is taken, that one done by our grandmother. So let us study the common method of the preservation of the food. So preservation of the food here items, how to preserve the cooked food items, about that. Chemical methods like a salt and edible oils are there. It is used commonly for chemical general use to check the growth of the microorganism, to control the growth of the microorganism. So they are called as a preservative, like a salt and the edible oils, as you know, groundnut oil, sunflower oil. So these are the different types of oils. Edible oils are there in our home which we are bringing. They will check, they control the growth of the microorganisms. So they are called as preservatives to pickles, to prevent the attack of the microbes. They will prevent attack of microbes. And so in the pickles, salt and oil are using more, means it will prevent the attack of microbes. Sodium benzoate, sodium metabisulfate is also using in the jams and squashes for to check the spoilage of the food, to prevent the attack of that microbes. So in the big factories they will use sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate, because there is a large purpose production is there, and so they have to preserve that one for many days, and they want to transport that one. So they will use sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate. Preservation by common salt. So there is a meat and fishes are there. They are storing with the help of covered by the dry salt to check growth of the bacteria. Salting is used for the preservation also for the amla is there. Otherwise tamarind and mangoes, raw mangoes are there. They are storing with the help of the salting method. So dry salt is there. They will check, they will control prevent the growth of the microbes. That is here preservation by common salt. Preservation by the sugar, like jam, jelly, squashes are there. In that sugar is using, because sugar reduces the moisture present in that food items. So it inhibits the growth of the bacteria and here which spoil the food. Preservation by the oil and vinegar is there. Oil and vinegars are also using here because in the oil and vinegar microbes are not growing or microbes are there, they are not able to live in such type of environment. So here vegetables are there, otherwise fruits, fish, meats are there, in that also oil and vinegars are using for the preservation purpose. Heat and cold treatment. You know, mother, when we are bringing milkman gives a milk, in that heat and cold treatments are there. So heat treatment is there using for the milk. When milkman gives us milk, mother is boiling that milk and then she will keep that one. Otherwise the milk is there, it will spoil. So that is the preservation by the heating treatment for the milk. And also there are the many items are there, we are storing that one in the refrigerator, that is called as a cool treatment. Here cold treatment we are giving for that food items. There is a it will prevent or check the growth of the microbes. It will prevent the growth of microbes in the low temperature. There is a inhibit the growth of the microbes. Another one method is there, pasteurization is there, using as you know, pasteurized milk we are using as packet milk we are bringing from the shops, and that it is as it is we are able to drink because they are free from the microorganisms or harmful microbes which are present. How they are free? Because when they are preparing that time here this pasteurized milk is they are preparing while the boiling the milk at 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds, and suddenly they are chilling it and then storing that one. So that is called as pasteurized milk. So it is able to use that milk as it is, that is a pasteurized milk. It prevents the growth of the microbes, and this process of the preservation discovered by the Louis Pasteur, and it is called as a pasteurized, so it is called as a pasteurization. Storing and packing. As you know, many dry fruits are there, many different jam, jelly, pickles are there, many other food items are there. Nowadays, they are storing in a sealed airtight container. So, sealed airtight containers means from that moisture or any air is there, they will remove and they will do the sealing in the factories. So, because of that, it means there is a growth of the microbes are there, or any here it inhibits the growth of the microbes because it is a sealed airtight containers are there, and because of that this prevent the attack of the microbes. So this is about the food preservation. Next one is the nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation, there are two types of a nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixing in the soil is different, nitrogen fixing in the root nodules is different. So if you are listening, nitrogen fixation, there is a Rhizobium bacteria are there. Rhizobium bacteria, these bacteria are present in the leguminous plants, leguminous or dicotyledonous plants. They are nothing but like grams are there, peas, groundnuts, they are called as leguminous plants. And there is these Rhizobium bacteria are present in the leguminous plants root nodules. So root nodules of that they are present. So these are the root nodules are there. In that root nodules here Rhizobium bacteria are present. These Rhizobium bacteria are there, very important for nitrogen fixation. These are the root nodules, the bacteria are living there. Instead of that they will give the nitrogen, means here through the plant they will take up food and shelter, and instead of that in return they will give the, that is called a symbiotic relationship. So instead of that they will give the nitrogen from the atmosphere. They will fix the nitrogen, or they will absorb the nitrogen from the atmosphere, and they will fix that one into the root nodules of the here leguminous plants and also in the soil. So there is a fixation of nitrogen is taking place with the help of a Rhizobium bacteria. These are responsible for the nitrogen fixation. There is by the lightning method also nitrogen fixation is taking place. And but there is a percentage of the nitrogen in the atmosphere. It is as it is not decreasing. Then how it is taking place? That one we are going to see with the help of a nitrogen cycle. So nitrogen cycle is there. By that we are going to understand. So here in the nitrogen cycle, you know that there is a atmospheric nitrogen in the present, that is a 78% of atmospheric nitrogen. So there is the nitrogen is fixing in the soil with the help of a nitrogen fixing bacteria, that is a atmospheric nitrogen by bacteria fix in the soil. Also there is by the lightning method nitrogen will fix. So these are the two methods are there. Nitrogen fixation is there. It is taking place in the here soil. Nitrogen fixation taking place in the soil, and then this nitrogen is there. Again it will convert into the bacteria fix the nitrogen into nitrogenous compound. It is necessary that one to convert into the nitrogenous compounds. So there are these bacteria are there, they will convert that one into the nitrogenous compounds. Compound of the soil nitrogen in the soil it will come. So here it is in the form of nitrates and nitrites, compound of soil nitrogen in the soil. So here there is a fixing by the nitrogen and it will convert into nitrates and nitrite mix with the compound of the soil, and also in, through the lightning. When lightning is there is oxygen and nitrogen in the atmosphere, they will mix together, there is a formation of nitrates and they will come through the rain in the soil and mix in the soil. It will use again by the plants, and so here the plants are using that one in the form of nitrates and nitrites, and once it will enter into the plant body, it will convert into the proteins and also chlorophyll, nucleic acids, and then here it is eating by the animals. That one eat by animals, and by the excretion of the plants and animals, and by the death, after the death of the plant and animals, after here it will enter again to the soil, again it will enter to the soil, and after that here as it will enter into the soil, again it is necessary to enter into the atmosphere. So the nitrogen again convert into the pre-gaseous nitrogen. Bacteria enter compound of nitrogen into the pre-gaseous nitrogen. Again it will come in a pre-gaseous nitrogen is there to the atmosphere. By the bacteria it will convert to the pre-gaseous nitrogen. So this is called as a nitrogen cycle. See, atmospheric nitrogen is there. This atmospheric nitrogen with the help of here bacteria, it will fix into the through the fixation of nitrogen is there from the atmosphere, pre-gaseous nitrogen to the in the form of nitrate and nitrite, it will mix to the soil and it will convert. That one it is necessary by the bacteria it will do. So here is the bacteria fixing, bacteria are there, it will convert into the soil. It will convert first of all into the nitrogen compound, and then it will enter the compounds of nitrogen into the soil. And also by the lightning method it is going to take place in the form of a compounds of a soil of that compound of a nitrogen in the soil. Then through the soil it is absorbing by the plants, by the roots, and then it is eating by the animals. So plant and animals are living organisms. By the excretion and the death of the plants and animal body, it will again enter into the soil, and then here in the form of nitrate and nitrites they are present. So the bacteria which are present, these bacteria again they will convert into the pre-gaseous nitrogen, and so the nitrogen again it is the recycling, again it is entering to the environment, or recycling of the nitrogen taking place as a pre-gaseous nitrogen to the atmosphere. Here it is a pre-gaseous nitrogen entering into the through the bacteria fixing in the soil, it will enter into the soil, through the soil, plant to the animal, again to the soil, and again pre-gaseous by the bacteria to the here atmospheric
nitrogen. So this is the
nothing but this is called as a nitrogen cycle. How there is a nitrogen again
from non-living things to the living, and from living to the again non-living free gaseous nitrogen. How there is a cycle of the nitrogen is there, about that we learned. So today we learned about the preservation of food and nitrogen cycle, and so here lesson is over. You should complete, there are totally 30 words you should write on this lesson, 15 middle question answers, and also complete exercise question answers. So here lesson is over. You should complete the exercise question in your prayer book. Thank you.